Rain anywhere in India right now is supposed to bring respite. But today was a day in the national capital when it brought terrible news. Before we get to the politics of the broadcast this evening, I'm Barkha Dutt, you're with the Mojo Story, and let's start by showing you what Delhi woke up to today. One of the airport terminals literally coming crashing down, collapsing under the weight of the rain, creating a new context for fireworks between the opposition and the government. Terrible, terrible news because it could have been any one of us in that car. But meanwhile, the fireworks carried on in Parliament, where different fault lines have emerged in the collision between the opposition and the government, as well as the opposition and the Speaker's chair. Rahul Gandhi alleged today that his microphone was muted. The opposition said it was not being allowed to talk about the NEET exams, the paper leaks, and the allegations of manipulation and paper rigging. This is the latest controversy. Shashi Tharoor earlier raised the slogan of Jai Samvidhan when he took his oath. He wasn't the only one to have a personalized oath taking, but the Speaker objected. The Speaker objected, saying that you were anyway taking an oath on the Constitution. Why did you have to raise this slogan? The opposition has hit back, saying, if you can say Jai Shri Ram, Jai Hindu Rashtra, Jai Palestine, Jai Telangana, all kinds of slogans. We've heard all kinds of slogans. Jai Maharashtra in the house. Why can't you actually say Jai Samvidhan? In many ways, in a parliament that was expected to be somewhat different, owing to the different numbers, as it were, on both sides of the trenches, nothing much seems to have changed. In the Rajya Sabha, the leader of the opposition, Mallikarjun Kharge, also attempted to talk about NEET, and he too said he was silenced. On the program today, we look at these fault lines that are emerging between the opposition and the chair. In particular, we look at the allegations made by the opposition of bias by the Speaker. And we also look at the iconography in speech that has unfolded. As I said, we have seen slogans of Hindu Rashtra, Jai Shri Ram, Jai Palestine, all kinds of other Jays. But if we can't say Jai Samvidhan, can we really say Jai Parliament? Let me introduce our guests on the program today as we look at this rather prickly issue. Let me welcome to the program Sanjay Hegde. Sanjay Hegde is, of course, a senior advocate and well-known guest and an analyst on current affairs. Welcome to the program. Shantanu Gupta is with us. Shantanu Gupta is a political analyst, but also the biographer of Yogi Adityanath, a book on Yogi Adityanath. Welcome, Shantanu ji, to the program. Akash, Banerjee, I want to say former journalist turned satirist, but you all know him or better as Deshbhakt, where he takes literally the mickey out of all things current affairs, finding a much more effective language, some would argue, than us conventional journalists. Welcome, Akash. It's been a while. And also joining us is Arshpreet Khadial. He's also a lawyer, but a spokesperson of the Congress party. And we are scheduled to have Ujjwal Deepak of the BJP with us in a few minutes, but we'll get the conversation going. Let me actually start by playing out first what happened between Shashi Tharoor and the Speaker and the controversy around Jai Samvidhan. And from that will flow a lot of the other controversies because they all relate in some ways to the clash between the opposition and the Speaker's chair. Take a look at what happened when Shashi Tharoor said, Jai Samvidhan.
Jai Samvidhan.
संविधान की शपथ तो ले ही रहे हैं। ये संविधान की शपथ है। किस पे आपत्ति नहीं, सलाह मत दिया करो। चलो बैठो, चलिए।
This has led to the opposition, including Priyanka Gandhi, going to social media and saying, why can't we say Jai Samvidhan in Parliament? Look at all of the other personalized oaths that members of Parliament have taken. Let's talk a little bit about this. Shantanu, let me try and understand from you what you made of this. As we have been saying, every MP brought their own ideology, left, right, and center when they took the oath. Some said Jai Shri Ram, some said Jai Hindu Rashtra, some said Jai Palestine, some said Jai Maharashtra, some said Jai Telangana, some said Jai Bengal, some said Jai Jagannath. But when Shashi Tharoor said Jai Samvidhan, the speaker rebuked him and said, "आप संविधान पे ही तो oath ले रहे हैं, शपथ ले रहे हैं, आपको ये बोलने की क्या जरूरत है?" When Dipinder Hooda of the Congress gets up and he objects, he says, "आप बैठ जाइए, आप हमें सलाह मत दीजिए." What did you make of this moment, Shantanu?
Barkha, namaste and namaste to all your guests. I think we have seen in the recently concluding election, with the fake narrative of BJP Samvidhan Badal Degi, Congress and the opposition got decent dividends, right? So they will keep overplaying this in multiple formats in I think the years to come in elections and parliament. That's why a lot of them are holding that the abridged version of constitution. They're saying Jai Samvidhan, and not only Shashi Tharoor, others also said similar thing, Jai Bhim, which is also mean Jai Samvidhan, Bhim Ram Ambedkar and Samvidhan. So I think at this point, uh, the speaker kind of rebuked or a point not rebuked, he kind of pointed like you are taking the oath on Samvidhan anyway, so it's almost like, let's say we all are here because of internet, and after every sentence, Barkha, I keep saying Jai internet, Jai internet, Jai Barkha, Jai Mojo, which he said, okay, that's not needed, right? So if you want to
Please
like
say every minute. Please every minute say Jai Mojo and Jai
that'll look
Barkha.
ridiculous,
I'll
right?
be
That'll
very
look
happy.
ridiculous.
No,
Yeah,
I'll
because
be very happy.
yeah, you'll be happy, but they'll look ridiculous, and they'll break the flow of the oath or whatever is it's happening. I'm just wondering what mind Om Birla might be coming from. Yeah, but if you want to see from a microscopic lens with what tonality, someone say he was sounding like a principal and he could have avoided this. But to my mind, it's a very semantic topic, right? The larger topic is Samvidhan badal denge, the fake narrative that worked for India Alliance, how far will they play it? Because if they play it too far, I'm sure every now and then BJP and the India Alliance will bring back that how they change the Samvidhan or curb the Samvidhan, from Nehru putting the articles on how Nehru curbed freedom of speech, right? From how Indira Gandhi put multiple leader of opposition without even court trials to the jail, to a recent case when a whole of the opposition is dismissed in Tamil Nadu, right? All these cases will keep coming up, which are otherwise hidden. I think for me, it will play how far will they play this Samvidhan card, and rest all for me is semantics.
Okay, I think that last point is a fair point. And Arshpreet, I want to bring you in. Arshpreet Khadial, I want to bring you in. When the chair talks about the emergency, the opposition protests. When the president talks about the emergency, the opposition protests. The BJP says you can't embrace the constitution as a symbol if you don't want to first just stand up and say, yes, the emergency was terrible. Now, I see the point that the speaker did it unilaterally. He should have discussed it, maybe an all-party meeting in his chambers, and say, look, we want to move this resolution on the emergency. But to Shantanu's point, you're all overdoing it. Rahul Gandhi is waving the Samvidhan when the Prime Minister is taking oath. He's waving the Samvidhan when Amit Shah is taking oath. Everybody's armed with their sort of red-covered constitution. The speaker didn't single out Jai Samvidhan. He just pointed to the fact कि अब कुछ ज़्यादा हो गया. What would you say, Arshpreet? Can we just unmute? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Did Jai Samvidhan solicit a reaction that it got from the speaker in the first place? Could it not simply have been Jai Samvidhan from the speaker himself? It would have been better, no? It would have been nice. And second of all, we also were expecting that the Bharatiya Janata Party's MPs would also stand and say Jai Samvidhan when the speaker objected to it. They should have stood for the constitution. Well, the fact of the matter is, Barkha, when an MP in the parliament calls a fellow MP a terrorist, does that solicit a reaction, an objection of this sort? When the Bharatiya Janata Party's MPs would make unparliamentary slogans, would utter unparliamentary, unconstitutional slogans, does that solicit an objection from the speaker? Why objecting to Jai Samvidhan is the question here. Well, the Bharatiya Janata Party's MPs did not object to that when the speaker did this is because of a couple of reasons. First is that the Bharatiya Janata Party's government is not in agreement with the current constitution that we have. They want to change it. And I'll give you the logic also behind it. They've already changed our CRPC. They've already changed our Indian Penal Code. They've already changed our Indian Evidence Act. And if they would have gotten 400 par, which they wanted to, desperately because of this reason, they would have changed or maybe would have done away with the current constitution that we have. And second of all, many of their elected leaders, unelected leaders have on record said it, that we will change the constitution. And second is, Barkha, that the BJP has a problem with our constitution because of the following things that it has. Number one, the introduction to the Constitution of India, the preamble says, "We the people of India, socialist, sovereign, secular democratic republic."
Yeah,
And if they were in
although that was added in the 70s.
However, even if it was added, but they never implemented it. They never agreed with it for some reason, and that's why the BJP leaders in the recent election made statements that were against secularism when they said, "घुसपैठिए हैं यहाँ पे, आपका मंगलसूत्र ले जाएंगे, जिनके बच्चे ज़्यादा होते हैं." These kind of statements are divisive statements which are against the secularism, which are against the constitution. Second, the Bharatiya Janata Party's government has been undermining the constitution ever since they formed government. We saw that when they did away with the debate and discussion that we have in the parliament, when they allegedly started misusing the agencies to allegedly turn them into their puppets. Then we also saw them do that when the Bharatiya Janata Party's government did away with the freedom of speech and expression that we have for the leaders. And I mean, the mics getting off, we not being given a chance. One last point, the BJP spokesperson joins. My question to the BJP spokesperson is, is it a good thing or a bad thing to say Jai Samvidhan? Number one. Number two is, will the Bharatiya Janata Party spokesperson agree to say Jai Samvidhan on this debate? And third is, should the BJP not have stood there and supported Jai Samvidhan by just reciprocating to that? And the speaker would have done?
I very much hope the BJP guest will be with us. One's flight got delayed because of the chaos at the airports. As you know, the terminal of the airport collapsed, and the other is supposed to join us in a few minutes. We very much hope he'll be here. In the meantime, let's keep the conversation going. We've had two very differing perspectives. Sanjay Hegde, I saw your comment on X. You said, the Congress should organize, mass mobilize a kind of Jai Samvidhan campaign. You heard what Shantanu said. Shantanu said all the speaker was doing, because even Rahul Gandhi said Jai Samvidhan, and the speaker didn't actually object. So the objection wasn't per se to Jai Samvidhan, but it was like, this is being overdone. You're all taking an oath on the Constitution of India. Maybe it was not the speaker's business to make that point, but he wasn't singling out the slogan per se, because others had used it. Several others had used it, including Rahul Gandhi, without any problem. Sanjay Hegde.
Well, let me start with Jai Samvidhan. And what's wrong with Jai Samvidhan?
Mm-hmm.
Jai Samvidhan essentially tells you that the Constitution is not a mere book for lawyers. It is our solemn compact as citizens. It's our contract between citizen and citizen, between citizen and the government, that this is how our country will be run. And I must also tell you that the Constitution came out from a Constituent Assembly which was 80% Orthodox Hindu, with President Rajendra Prasad being possibly the most orthodox of them. Mm-hmm. And why did this magnificent Constitution come out? This magnificent Constitution came out because it was written against a backdrop of great violence of the previous decade. You had the Second World War, you had the Jewish Holocaust, you had partition violence, you had so much terror at that point of time that our forefathers gave us a gift saying that this is not the way we will go. We've forgotten quite a few lessons over the past 2 or 3 generations that have followed. But recently, the Constitution is something with which everybody's been engaged with. And it is not a mere little red book. On the red book, I have a personal note. I'll come back to you later on that. It was the tribals of Jharkhand who put out the Constitution's provisions on stones in Patalgadi. That was called the Patalgadi movement. It is basically a shortcut for telling the government, whoever be the ruler, that look, we are humans, we are Indian citizens, and we have rights which are guaranteed to us. So when you say no to Jai Samvidhan, sitting in a constitutional chair, you are insulting not only the person you talk to, but you are insulting a solemn national covenant.
But was he, as Shantanu asks, saying no to Jai Samvidhan? Because he didn't say no each time it was done.
आप बैठ जाइए. आप बैठ जाइए. You think he was being respectful to somebody who said that you should not object to Jai Samvidhan? Please, this is just just some kind of defense doesn't wash. And yes, there is an allergy to the constitution, which has come particularly from those who believe that the Manusmriti should be the constitution of India. It is a fight between the constitution and the Manusmriti straight out.
Let me bring in Akash here. Akash, as somebody who deals with the effective, your business is to be an effective communicator. Do you believe that the iconography of the constitution in parliament, Mr. Gandhi waving it at the prime minister during oath taking, home minister during oath taking, everybody carrying this red covered book, nobody can object to Jai Samvidhan? There, I think we all agree that there can be no objection to it unless there was one standardized speech for oath taking for all MPs and somebody went off script. And even then, what's wrong if they added a Jai Samvidhan? But opinion is divided on whether this has gone too far. There are those, mostly supporters of the government, who say, "Ye trivialized ho gaya. Why is Mr. Gandhi waving this?" What did you make of the moment we saw, or the moments we've seen unfold in Parliament, Akash?
So first and foremost, Barkha, it's great to see an opposition that is opposing, along with the Constitution and what the Constitution stands for. I think an entire generation of this country has forgotten what an opposition looks like. An opposition is supposed to be a body that is supposed to put a check on the government, to check the aggressiveness, the authoritarian tendencies of that government. I don't know, Barkha. Maybe you watched the entire proceedings of the parliament. I was busy making an episode yesterday about the real infrastructure story of India. And we mounted an episode yesterday. And this morning we saw how the infrastructure story, whether be it leaking Ayodhya or leaking papers or leaking or the airport collapse this morning. But do correct me. If the speaker actually prevented others from saying all the other jays, if the speaker had prevented all the other jays and then he prevented Jai Samvidhan, I would say that's absolutely okay. If he had made that, what you are very categorically saying, no, he was making an observation that hum to Samvidhan ke upar hi
I'm
baat
not
kar rahe
saying
hain.
I am not saying that. I in fact want to play a package for you, and I will, where we have all of the jays that were used.
Sure.
And the first question I asked to Shantanu was, "Baki kisi ko nahi roka, inko kyun roka?" Lekin, as moderator, I am putting to you what the counter argument is.
My point to that, Barkha, is that A, it's great to see an opposition opposing. B, it's great to see an opposition standing up for the Constitution, because we have forgotten, as Sanjay sir also said, what the Constitution means and what it stands for. And C, let's make it absolutely clear that the whole fight for the Constitution is not a misplaced fight. I was just reading from the Mint. Constitution should be changed to save Hinduism, says Mr. Hegde. While addressing a public rally, Anant Kumar Hegde urged people to vote for the BJP in large numbers so that the Indian Constitution can be amended. He called for rewriting of the Indian Constitution. So, Barkha, let's make one thing very clear. This whole fight about the Constitution, it's taken as a very nursery understanding that, Congress also amended the Constitution. Of course, that is part of the whole democracy, that you amend the Constitution. The fight here is about rewriting the essence of the Constitution. And that is something that the opposition picked up. And yes, it has got them rich dividends. So if there is any political party in India, especially we at Deshbhakt, if there is any political party in India that stands up for the Constitution and holds up that red book, which many, by the way, think is Mao's red book. So that is the level of illiteracy that we have in this country. If Rahul Gandhi is holding a red book, then on internet you have the trending fact that Rahul Gandhi is holding Mao's red book. So we need to understand what is the abridged version of the Constitution, what the Constitution stands for, what Jai Samvidhan stands for. And if the speaker has a problem, then he should make a carte blanche rule that nobody is to go off track, or he should stop every person from saying any Jai. And especially, he should not have a problem at all from Jai Samvidhan. And why does a particular party have a problem with Jai Samvidhan? I really don't understand. Is because all the trolling, all the negativity seems to come out if somebody starts talking about the Constitution. And that is something we will aggressively push back here as active citizens also.
Okay, Akash, I first want to say that if you look at my comment on Twitter, I actually reposted Shashi Tharoor. I rarely reveal my own opinion when I'm moderating, but since you made a comment about a question I asked, I reposted the interaction between Shashi Tharoor and the speaker, and I said, I cannot understand why someone can't say Jai Samvidhan in Parliament. But as I welcome Ujjwal ji of the BJP to the program, and I see Sanjay's hand go up, I actually want to play out the clip of all the different, not all, some of the different Jais that were invoked, and we will ask why the speaker thought it fit to only intervene on one Jai. Sanjay, before I do that, you had a point to make, Sanjay Hegde?
Just a quick thing about that little red book. There's a
Yes.
personal note.
Yes.
You see, I used to be junior to the Attorney General, G. Ramaswamy. Those days we needed a constitution at all times. So I had the habit of carrying the constitution in my coat pocket. Gopal Shankar Narayan saw it, and he told Eastern Book Company, come out with a nice coat pocket version. And that's how that little red book has come about. So I am very proud of that little red book. And to say that it is Chairman Mao, that really hurts my religious sentiments, such as they are.
That's quite a story. But in the meantime, Ujjwal, lots of questions have been mounting up for you, and I think Akash will point about Anand Hegde of the BJP having spoken about wanting to amend the constitution. The sitting member of parliament in Ayodhya, was defeated, also made a similar comment कि 400 पार आप हमें दें तो कौन संविधान बदला जाएगा. So I will ask Shantanu later why he thinks it's fake news. But first, Ujjwal Deepak, we're going to play out for you just a glimpse of all the different ways and all the different invocations that our members of parliament used and fell back upon as they took their oaths. Take a look.
जय हिंद, जय संविधान. That I will faithfully discharge the duty upon which I'm about to enter. Jai Hind, Jai Samvidhan.
जय हिंदू राष्ट्र, जय भारत.
जय भीम, जय मीम, जय तेलंगाना, जय फलस्तीन, तकबीर, अल्लाहु अकबर.
जय जगत. Stop these shameful atrocities against minorities, Dalits and Adivasis. Jai Bhim, Jai Samvidhan.
श्यामा प्रसाद मुखर्जी जिंदाबाद, दीनदयाल उपाध्याय जिंदाबाद, अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी जिंदाबाद, नरेंद्र मोदी जिंदाबाद. डॉक्टर हेडगेवार जिंदाबाद.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद के साथ रीनीट बिहार विशेष राज्य का दर्जा सीमांचल जिंदाबाद, मानवतावाद जिंदाबाद, भीम जिंदाबाद, संविधान जिंदाबाद. बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं. जानता हूँ आपसे ज्यादा न 6ठा बार सांसद हूँ. आप हमको सिखाइएगा और आप कृपा पर जीते हैं. मैं अकेला लड़ता हूँ. फॉर द टाइम आई एम द इंडियन फॉर द टाइम इंडिपेंडेंट MP फॉर द टाइम. नॉट टेल मी सो आई टेल मी ये भगवान का नाम नहीं.
कर्तव्यानि श्रद्धापूर्वकम निर्वक्ष्यामि. जय श्री राम, जय भारत.
जय श्री कृष्णा, जय श्री राधा रमन जी, जय भारत माता की.
So Akash, that was for you. He didn't intervene on anybody but Shashi Tharoor. And I do think that that's odd, if you want to know my opinion. Because either there should be, as I said, a templated, standardized rule for every member of parliament, and you stop everybody who moves away from that script. But when you look at the assembly of invocations, and Ujjwal Deepak, I'll come to you right after that, what did you feel?
So Barkha, two very quick things. There is very clearly something that the opposition has managed to got a hold on. Please understand that they are also up against a lot. And we also, of course, grill the opposition of why are they not actually managing to capture the imagination of the people. And if a political party or side is managing to capture the imagination of people based on the constitution, Jai Samvidhan to that. Secondly, Barkha, it's a democracy. It's okay. We are not a dictatorship where we have to follow each line, and then follow everything. It's okay. I would have said, say Jai Shri Krishna, say Jai Ram. If there is one line that everybody is including and trying to make a little bit of a personal statement, it's okay. We are a democracy. My problem is not only the fact of him being stopped in that manner or being tokoed in that manner, literally, but the abrasiveness with which the speaker said, "Tum baith jao." It was not "aap baith jao." It was "tum baith jao." I think that is something that needs to be pushed back, because the speaker would not talk like that to a member of the treasury. Why was the person, why is the opposition being talked down to? I think there has to be a re-understanding of respect, that there is a treasury bench, there is an opposition bench. You can't keep mocking everything in a democracy and opposition. Barkha, shocking thing. I did an episode, said Rahul Gandhi is going to take up the first constitutional post in his career of more than 20 years, the first time. Can he do it, etc., etc. There are so many people who said, what are you talking about? First constitutional post? Wo to MP bhi tha. People don't even know the leader of... No, they said, no, you're wrong. Leader of opposition is not a constitutional post. That is the lack of awareness, that people don't even know that what is the role and responsibility of the leader of opposition. So maybe we need to see a little bit of more opposition to understand what democracy is all about.
Yeah, I actually agree with you. And I actually saw that sort of melange of different voices. And I, like you, thought it was just fine. This would have been not a non-issue had the speaker not reprimanded Shashi Tharoor. Ujjwal Deepak of the BJP, thank you for joining us. Kya problem hai bhai? Namaskar. Did you think that Om Birla went too far in for saying to Tharoor what was the need to say Jai Samvidhan? Then when Dipinder Hooda gets to his feet, stands up and says, "What's your problem?" He says, "Baith jao, baith jao."
Barkha, the problem is, you will see there is a new kind of hooliganism inside the parliament. There's a new kind of arajakta.
For example,
everybody wanting to do some kind of drama, whether it's the government or the opposition. And me also, I don't know when did that happen last. I mean, I've seen many oath-taking ceremonies in the past, and there was rarely an opportunity or a time when people used to do that. So there's a new kind of arajakta you will see.
आपके सहयोगी भी करे, बहुत आपके सहयोगियों ने भी कहा जय श्री राम, जय कृष्णा. किसी ने श्यामा प्रसाद मुखर्जी की बात की.
I did mention whether it's the government or the opposition. Okay. So this is a new India. This is a new democratic India with full of slogans, sloganism, and political drama, if I may call so. So gone are the days when the opposition during its entire election campaign talked about unemployment and Mehngai and all that. And since the government has been formed, you will see nothing of that sort. We are only talking about constitution. So what really is this constitution debate all about? I asked you 2 days back also, what is this changing this whole constitution all about?
And I said to you, I said to you 2 days back also, which we discussed before you joined, that whether it's an Anand Hegde, your Ayodhya member of parliament, Lalu Singh, there are BJP parliamentarians since voted out who have spoken about changing the constitution.
Barkha, I asked that question, but I myself know the answer. But what I'm really asking here is that really the case? I mean, 2 MPs giving some statements and BJP also taking some action on them. Do they come? And you are not believing Prime Minister Modi's statement that even if Mr. Ambedkar would come alive, he would not even try to change the constitution. So who would you believe in? The Prime Minister of India or some 2 MPs? So why are we not talking about that? And who have made the maximum amendments in the constitution? We all are aware of that, right? You all should read a book called Stormy Nights. I believe that's the name. 1951's debate of Nehru changing the entire essence of the constitution, where the freedom of the right to freedom was completely put down. There were 10 days of fierce debate in the constitution.
Okay, let me bring reactions in. I think Arshpreet would want to come in first, then Sanjay, Hegde, Shantanu, and Akash in that order. Arshpreet, please go ahead.
My question to the BJP is, I'd like to start with a question. Can a parliamentarian say Jai Samvidhan in the parliament according to BJP, yes or no? And just so that, one practices what he or she preaches because they say we are for constitution, please say Jai Samvidhan on this debate and prove that.
Okay, Ujjwal, if we can unmute Ujjwal. You're muted at your own end. Yeah, go ahead.
Question.
Ujjwal, unmute
I didn't
yourself.
get the question, sorry.
He's saying कि आप बोलने के लिए राजी हैं जय संविधान इस कार्यक्रम में?
Why not? Jai Samvidhan, Jai Bhim, Jai Bharat, Bharat Mata ki Jai.
Okay, now
Jai
let's
Shri
go back
Ram.
to... Okay.
Now the second
why not?
leg of the, yeah, very good. Second leg of the question was, can MPs in parliament say Jai Samvidhan or not?
Why not?
Then why did the speaker object
When
to that?
Asaduddin Owaisi can say Jai
Then why did the
Palestine
speaker object
and
to
the
that?
speaker doesn't object him.
Then was the speaker wrong or not?
No, I'm nobody to comment on that. Why he did that, that's him to answer. Believe me.
Perfect. Barkha, I'll continue.
Okay.
I'm the spokesperson of the party,
Okay.
not for the speaker.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Number
But
one.
you answered, yeah. Okay, Arshpreet, he has said Jai Samvidhan. Now I think we can move on
Great.
from whether he would
Great.
say it or not.
Great.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. I think this is quite an accomplishment. A BJP spokesperson saying Jai Samvidhan. I'd really appreciate him. Number one.
But why are you
foremost,
saying that? The Prime Minister also bowed before the Constitution
Yes.
as he met with
The
members
BJP is
of
bowed down
Parliament.
before the Constitution. We all do, right?
when the speaker when the speaker objected to that, the BJP MP should have stood up. They should have said it's perfectly all right to say Jai Samvidhan. Why was it just the opposition objecting to that? Why was it not the Bharatiya Janata Party's MPs? Number one. Number two. See, it is very easy for the BJP MPs to say Jai Modi ji, Jai for their leaders, but it's very difficult for them to say Jai Samvidhan in the parliament. Have you seen a single MP of the BJP say that? Why do the Bharatiya Janata Party not prefer to say it? And why does the Bharatiya Janata Party is against it? Let's understand first. First is that the Bharatiya Janata Party is restrained from doing anything and everything, act according to the whims and fancies, be arbitrary because of the constitution. They wanted to rig the Chandigarh mayor poll election. They could not because of the constitution and because of the guardian of the constitution, the Supreme Court, which said murder of democracy happened. The BJP has a problem with the constitution because the constitution restrains them from bulldozing over the houses of people without a fair trial, without the principle of natural justice being violated. They want to be the judge, jury, and executioner. The constitution does not let them get away with that. That's where the BJP has a problem. Now, here, the thing is that the BJP leaders misinterpreting this book constitution that we can see, calling it a book, calling it names, is because the BJP leaders maybe have never had a pocket version of a constitution in their pockets. If they had ever had it there, they would have known what the constitution is all about, what it says, and they would have implemented it.
Arshpreet, let's get reactions because everybody
and one
wants
last
to speak.
line, please. Just one last line, Barkha. It's not just the opposition. 600 lawyers recently wrote to the CGI regarding the pressure that's being mounted upon the judiciary, which is the guardian of the constitution. 4 judges had to do a press conference, sitting judges, unprecedented. And 21 former judges, 4 of the Supreme Court and 17 of of various high courts had to write to the CGI. So it's a big concern, and it's no open secret that the Bharatiya Janata Party is against the constitution.
Okay, let's focus. Sanjay, Hegde, then Shantanu, and then Akash. Sanjay, go ahead.
There are a few things that I want to clear up because lots of things become WhatsApp forwards and then get engraved into stone. The first thing is you said that secularism came in only by the 42nd Amendment. You see, there was a debate during the Constituent Assembly itself as to why did you not put the word secular. Dr. Ambedkar said, look, every portion of the Constitution and the fundamental rights is secular. You don't need to specifically put it. Nevertheless, it was put in 76. After that, you had the Janata Party, of which both Vajpayee and Advani were members of the cabinet. They brought in the 44th Amendment, where everything that the 42nd Amendment did was taken out. But this was specifically left in. So secularism is a particular constitutional choice which has been endorsed over a whole portion of history. And even if you take it out from the preamble, the constitution will continue to remain secular, though the vision of those who want to take it out will definitely be anti-secular. Now, the other thing was, I heard somebody say, in 1951 they changed with the First Amendment. I must point out that 1951 was the same Constituent Assembly, which passed the Constitution. It was making changes in its own homework. Secondly, the number of constitutional amendments do not really matter. It is the quality of the amendment that matters, because you will have to have a constitutional amendment to increase the number of judges in the Supreme Court. You'll have to have because you have a very long constitution. You want to have Panchayati Raj, you'll need a constitutional amendment. The quality, saying that, look, we shall be a Hindu Rashtra. One amendment like that, which breaks the entire basic structure of the Constitution, that's the problem.
And I take your point that secularism was always in the essence, and it's enshrined in the fundamental rights as a guiding principle. But I was just being technically factual about the preamble. That's all. Shantanu, let's bring you in. You opened by saying that there has been a successfully created fake narrative by the opposition that the Constitution was under threat, to which some of us quoted the two BJP leaders who did talk about changing it. I think there was a third also, whom I can remember, Jyoti Mirda, from one of her rallies. So there was this kind of commentary. And the Prime Minister did counter it. But as is the nature with such things, the opposition had latched onto it by now. Do you not think the Speaker did, ironically, perhaps a disservice to the BJP with that exchange with both Tharoor and Dipinder Hooda? Shantanu ji. Can we unmute Shantanu, please?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as I already told in my initial remark, that if you want to measure the tone, tonality, the nature, if you be macroscopic, some may find, he could have been a little more like softer about this topic. And you already shown that similar comments, Jai Samvidhan, were made by others, and it was not being checked, right? So he was making a very particular remark कि आप संविधान पे शपथ ले रहे हैं, बार-बार संविधान क्यों मिल रहा है? He was like giving a very logical discussion point rather than, no, you can't say Jai Samvidhan. I did not hear that. If some of you heard that, I'm saying then we can comment, right?
But suppose 500 MPs had said Jai Hindu Rashtra, nobody would have said कि आपने 500 बारी क्यों बोला? Maybe BJP wouldn't have said कि 500 बारी क्यों बोला?
You don't know.
So it's about
because that did not happen.
Preference, right?
Because that did not happen.
Because
it coming from a point that Samvidhan, holding the copy of the Samvidhan, became an election issue. So he was pointing out, election is over. Your narrative which you want to put, Samvidhan badal jayega, worked for you little bit. Little bit means आप LOP ले पाए इस बार. That's the only credit I think opposition can hold कि इस बार LOP हमारे पास after the three terms. So don't overplay it, right? I think that's what he meant, right? Now coming to Samvidhan badal jayega, what does it exactly mean, right? Can you really change Samvidhan? So if like someone like Hegde or Lallu Singh, if they're mentioning also Samvidhan badal jayega, their connotation might be typical Hindu issue which is still pending, right? Like places of worship act, like temple control, like Waqf Act, right? Like, and you can do amendments. I'm sure Article 368, to my understanding, that provides you amendment. There, to my understanding, there are 106 amendments, and BJP government in the last 10 years make 8 amendments. And do you want to know
sorry to interrupt. Samvidhan badal jayega means going against the basic structure, which is now defined
by the Supreme Court. That's your understanding.
That is my understanding. I can only
give
you my understanding.
Totally, right? So I'm saying technically understand what a Lallu Singh want to cater to is Hindu population, right? I'm saying technically yes, Anant Hegde. So what are the pending Hindu issues? Pending Hindu issues typically are places of worship act, temple control, and Waqf, right? Changing the Waqf Act so that they can't control any land in India, right? So I'm saying we if we have more seats, we have more control, we will do more of amendments. Just see the 8 amendments that BJP government made in this 10 years, right? Just see few of them, apart from the GST and all. They're saying 10% reservation for EWS, right? They're saying 33% reservation for women. They're saying OBC caste can be identified by the state. They are legalizing the OBC commission. Are they anti-reservation? And Samvidhan badal denge, how the Congress and opposition very smartly and very cunningly changed it to reservation khatam ho jayega. And that was the same narrative which worked in 2015 Bihar election when Mohan Bhagwat ji very philosophically told that reservation can be reviewed. Even Baba Ambedkar said after 10 years should be reviewed, right? Well, he philosophically said, and that affected. So that worked then, and that's why I'm saying it's a fake narrative, because Samvidhan badal jayega was turned to reservation chala jayega, and also added with a fake video of Amit Shah. which was posted by a constitutional post holder, Chief Minister Revant Reddy. For some reason, none of the commentators are mentioning that, right? So they were on a fake narrative. They thought they're thinking it will run for a while. That's why they will keep overdoing it. I think he just checked it. He could have avoided it also. But to my mind, that's not even a moot point. Kisne Samvidhan badla hai? Someone who trampled the Samvidhan. Emergency is not discussed enough in this country, right? Now, hopefully, there's a movie coming, I heard. So there will become a popular discussion what emergency was. I think it's coming in September or so. So popular Janta doesn't even know, as Akash was saying, as the people don't know what LOP is exactly or what MP is. Popular people don't know what happened exactly in emergency.
Okay, I just want to bring in Akash and then I'll come back for last comments from everybody. Akash, firstly, I just noticed your t-shirt, Bharat, that is India, also has been a talking point.
Shameless plug. This is our merch of Deshbhakt. Okay. Actually, Barkha, there's a story there also. When there was this talk about the education ministry saying that we will change India into Bharat, even in the educational courses, we actually launched this t-shirt saying Bharat, that was India. And that really, pissed off a lot of people. And and after the elections, we have changed this t-shirt to Bharat, that is India. So I think these are the constitutional values that we really need to have a look and reinforce.
But do you want to come in on this argument that even the BJP motor mouths who spoke about wanting to change the constitution, they were never talking about taking away the reservation, what Shantanu just said. They were not talking about taking away affirmative action from Dalits. But the opposition was able to successfully put that in the minds of many voters, and that worked for them, right?
Yes.
He's saying that's fake news. The opposition. Yeah. What do you say?
So, Barkha, first, I just wanted to mention this that Arajakta hai parliament mein, because everybody was saying one line. It just reminded me of that girl, 21-year-old girl in New Zealand parliament who did the haka. Come on. Everybody might say that, oh, what is this? But she was representing the aspirations of the native New Zealanders when she did the haka in parliament. So it's okay in democracy. I think what is happening is, Barkha, in this conversation, we are doing a little bit of, as Piyush Goyalji said, you are getting into the maths here. And why we are getting into the maths is we are actually getting into the very specifics. Politics does not work on specifics. I can also get into the maths and say, ask the people on the streets. They will still say Congress ne Bofors mein paisa khaya hai. 30 years in courts, they did not get anything. Pappu can't dance. Well, Pappu can dance or not. It doesn't matter. So in politics, it is perception that matters. Modi ji 18 घंटे काम करते हैं. किसी ने बैठ के थोड़ी ना देखा है 18 घंटे काम करते हैं. It is the perception that he is the hardest working prime minister we have had. Now, would I sit down and have a debate and discussion over it? No. The fact is that common perception was, here is a party that is asking for 400 seats because they want to change the basic structure of the constitution. And there are BJP supporters who said, hundreds of comments on our channel is that we don't agree with you, Akash. You ask too many questions. But yes, I think this is getting too much at this point of time. So much balance of power in one side is not okay. Please understand, this election was not fought over the specifics of अच्छा कितने amendment हुए थे अभी तक हम पढ़ के देखते हैं. As Sanjay was also saying, it is the quality, it is the intention with which you are discussing and what you are talking about. And that is, I think, what people said, and the opposition has benefited out of it. Should they play more upon it? I think yes, they should play more upon it. They should encourage people to ask what the constitution is, what it says. But Barkha, one final point. Yes, maybe they are overplaying on it. I might agree there. You know why? Is because I haven't seen any coherent action from the opposition since morning. That drastically airport collapse. Yesterday, you had one collapse. Today, you've had another collapse. I just checked Rahul Gandhi's Twitter feed. At least on the Twitter feed, I could not get anything. The opposition's role is not only to say, Acha, Speaker Saab, aapne ye kar diya, so we are going to stand up against you. I'm sorry, nobody is watching parliamentary proceedings in today's India. What they are watching is this kind of airport collapse that is happening 3 months after the Prime Minister goes on an inauguration spree and inaugurates so many airports, and you've had 2 collapses in 2 days on the first spell of rain. That is a serious question that the opposition has to raise. So yes, to that I might say is that maybe the opposition is barking up the wrong tree. Is that one statement being taken to that extent and debated and discussed, or them encouraging it? I would have really wanted the opposition to have taken up charge on this issue, and by now after 12 hours, they should have demanded a full audit of all the new airports that have been inaugurated on 10th and 11th of March, which is, I think, 5 days before the Model Code of Conduct came into play. Was it that the airports got completed so quickly, or was it a rushed project? That is the question that the opposition should be asking as well.
I am glad you make the point. And in fact, Arshpreet, I'll come to you in your concluding remarks, because there's supporters of the opposition who also believe the opposition is far too defensive and silent on the rights of religious minorities. That's another issue that remains unaddressed. So if you really want to defend the spirit of the Constitution, you can't do it with one hand behind your back. So I think that's the point Akash is raising in the context of that horrific airport collapse. Ujjwal Deepak, last thoughts. Yes, go ahead.
Barkha, there is a common saying कि जब तक सच अपने जूते के लेस बांधते रहता है तब तक झूठ दुनिया के कई चक्कर लगा के आ जाता है. और this is exactly what has happened during this election and till now. So somebody said something और वो इलेक्शन खत्म हो जाएगा, रिजर्वेशन खत्म हो जाएगा, संविधान बदल दिया जाएगा, देश का एक्सरे होगा, MRI स्कैन होगा, redistribution of wealth. So Mr. Sam Pitroda, though he was not in a constitutional post, he was not an MP, but he making some absurd statements, and you know, nobody talks about that. Rahul Gandhi making statements ki we will redistribute wealth according to the population.
Donald Trump has lied through his teeth in the debate today, and he's probably going to win the US election. As Akash said, ye rajniti hai. This is politics, which is why you communicate
and also,
is everything.
As while I would agree to what Akash said about the airport fiasco, but I would also disagree that this was not what Mr. Prime Minister inaugurated. This was way back when Congress inaugurated this canopy.
Okay, but he was saying the opposition should talk about it, and the government had to maintain it, and GMR had to maintain it.
But the opposition is not talking about it. What opposition is more interested is that the Prime Minister inaugurated it. So this is what's happening in India, and despite BJP doing everything for the minorities, for the OBCs, for everybody, despite that, the BJP is blamed to be playing biased against making it a Hindu Raj, while my fellow spokesperson from BJP said very rightly that BJP doing nothing of that sort, still the opposition is playing right bang upon what the speaker is saying to the member rather than what's happening in the country.
And I would say that this is a tit for tat political game on. You guys do it, they do it. They've learned late how to do it. They've learned probably from you how to do it. And they're borrowing from your playbook. No, I don't mean you personally, but the point is that this sort of WhatsApp university, WhatsApp forwards, memes, social media, the BJP was the first mover on it very smartly, but often facts don't matter. Let's say the one true thing that Donald Trump said was that we live in a post-truth world. Acha, but anyway, Arshpreet, last thoughts. Sanjay, let's give you the closing word. Arshpreet, yeah.
Thank you. My only suggestion to the Bharatiya Janata Party is understand this: कि Constitution है तो आप हो, and Constitution was supreme, is supreme, and will always be supreme no matter what the Bharatiya Janata Party's government thinks or does not. See, the gentleman from the BJP also talked about that these claims of the opposition are unnecessary, are basically an exaggeration. I'll give you a couple of assertions by the Bharatiya Janata Party's leaders also about reservation. Mr. Manmohan Vaidya, the publicity chief of RSS, he said that reservation is against the principle of equality. Mr. Mohan Bhagwat said reservation should be reconsidered. Then Mr. Gulwalkarji in his book Vicharadhan wrote against reservation. So Bharatiya Janata Party's leaders have spoken on record against reservation, against constitution. And my answer to Akash is that he said, why has the Congress party not spoken over the collapse that has happened today? Well, Mr. Mallikarjun Khadge has very categorically made remarks over the matter, and he has also said that corruption and criminal negligence had led to this, and the Bharatiya Janata Party needs to fix accountability and make sure that the people that have suffered because of this, they are brought to justice.
Okay, thank you for that. Sanjay Hegde, closing word. Sanjay Hegde.
Well, one reason why governments do not like the Constitution or people pointing out the Constitution is because the Constitution is a limitation on power. And they think that they are emperors. And I'd like to close on what Rahat Indori said. कल तक जो थे साहिब मसनद आज नहीं है, किराएदार है, जाती मकान थोड़ी है, सभी का खून यहाँ के मिट्टी में शामिल, किसी के बाप का हिंदुस्तान थोड़ी है.
That's very powerful. And I think we can all agree on that because it had nothing to do with which party you're from. क्योंकि किसी के बाप का हिंदुस्तान नहीं है, सच में नहीं है और होना भी नहीं चाहिए. Thank you for those powerful words and for a robust debate. उज्जवल जी, अब छोड़ दीजिए इसी पे. अच्छा moment है to end the conversation.
एक last word. कुछ लोग जो समझ बैठे कि उनके बाप का हिंदुस्तान है, उनके दादा का हिंदुस्तान है, नाना का है, उनका क्या करेंगे? मुझे बस इसी सवाल का जवाब चाहिए.
अब अर्शप्रीत जी भी बोलेंगे.
3 लोग एक परिवार से, 3 लोग एक परिवार से,
अब मैं अब यही लगता है कि अब मुझे सबको एक कमेंट देने का मौका दें.
हेगड़े साहब के बोलने से तकलीफ बीजेपी को हुई. He was ending it with such a good remark, but the BJP can't let that.
Not a really good remark.
We know why.
कुछ लोगों तो अपने बाप का समझ के रखा है ना हिंदुस्तान को.
अच्छा, now Sanjay is wanting to say something.
अपनी फैमिली का.
अच्छा, उज्जवल, Sanjay.
That's why they couldn't get the majority this time.
Okay, Sanjay, yes.
No, he didn't hear me. I said किसी के बाप का हिंदुस्तान थोड़ी है. किसी के बाप का हिंदुस्तान थोड़ी है.
I agree with you, Sanjay ji. I just asked. पर जो लोग समझते हैं उनका क्या करेंगे?
Okay, Shantanu, and then I'm giving with respect to all. Now I'm doing another round of comments. Shantanu and then Akash as the closing word.
In fact, I wanted to make a coherent comment that I think apart from discussing all of this semantics which we engaged in, I think the real point I was seeing how Rahul Gandhi is operate as a leader of opposition. So apart from the crispy kurta that day, I was not able to find anything coherent, right? Because first of all, they put K. Suresh, the typical habit of Congress putting a Dalit candidate for president, vice president, Lok Sabha speaker when they're on losing wicket, right? Meera Kumar for president, Sushma Sunde for vice president, now K. Suresh for Lok Sabha speaker, a Dalit candidate will play the Dalit tokenism also, and they will lose anyways. And okay, when you put up a fight, put a brief fight, at least ask for division of vote. No, because division will vote will put out. So I think that's first wicket down for Rahul Gandhi. Second, then Abhishek Banerjee comes out that we asked for division of vote. Jairam Ramesh saying we did not ask for division of vote. So he's not able to hold whole India alliance together, right? Again, when the emergency thing came, the emergency resolution, everyone from the Congress benches and the opposition benches stood up, but not Akhilesh Yadav, right? And how can he, right? Mulayam Singh Yadav the politics is all around emergency, right? So he's not still able to hold his politics together. So only changing from t-shirt to kurta will not help. I think he has to, because see, as I think Akash was saying, no one knows Narendra Modi's work for 17, 18. No one knows that Narendra Modi worked for 17, 18 hours. But we know that Akhilesh Yadav's attendance in last parliament was only 33%. Rahul Gandhi's attendance in last parliament was only 45-80%. That we all we know. Narendra Modi works for how many hours we don't know. Abhishek Banerjee's attendance was 17%, right? That's why I think his comment was said कि हमारे तो बाप का है क्या? So a lot of people who are in this habit कि मेरे बाप का है, मुझे तो पार्लियामेंट आने की जरूरत नहीं.
I think you're fair in saying, and I'll give Akash the closing word, that if you look at the PRS legislative data, Rahul Gandhi has not been an active parliamentarian. It's well below the participation in debates, and the attendance is well below the national average. At that point, Arshpreet, यार अब खत्म भी करने दो. अभी अगले बारी राहुल गांधी का LOP discuss करेंगे.
I'll just end it in one line, Barkha, since you made an assertion. Otherwise, I wouldn't have time.
Okay.
Mr. Modi's attendance in 2021 in the parliament was merely 4 hours.
No. Prime Minister and Minister attendance are not calculated. That's like a quorum from.
I am sorry. For the report of the print, you can go read
He's
that.
the Prime Minister of the country.
Prime Minister and Ministers' attendance are not calculated by the Parliament.
1 second, please. 24/7. If Mr. Modi can be on campaign mode, if he can continuously be on advertising.
Okay, we are doing maths again.
Everybody, you see, here's the point. Everybody is going to be measured differently because it's a different parliament. That is the ruthlessness of politics. When the opposition didn't have the numbers, जो जीता वही सिकंदर, that cliche holds. Sorry to move from Rahat Indori to Hindi films, but Akash, last word.
Barkha, again we are doing the maths कि वो इतने घंटे आए, वो इतने घंटे नहीं आए. Of course, the Prime Minister is not measured in the same category, and Shantanu is absolutely right there. Perception. Again, the perception is Rahul Gandhi a hard worker? No, that is the perception. I don't care whether he is actually, maybe Rahul Gandhi is working 18 ghante. We don't know. Doesn't look like it. So he has to come across as somebody who's there. And we put it in our episode. And the title of the episode is, Can He Handle It? And this is the biggest test for Rahul Gandhi. Choosing the leader of opposition is not a joke. And pushing back against the speaker might be a very small thing. It doesn't really matter in the larger scope of things. Can Rahul Gandhi carry on the India alliance together with him? On day one, as was just talked about, you can't ask for a division. You have a split with the TMC. You have ego battles on the first thing that you were trying to do together, trying to push back on the issue of the deputy speaker. That's a huge challenge to change the perception that Rahul Gandhi can lead India alliance, that he can push back, that he can fight for democracy. These are huge fights. And it's been 3 weeks, and they say politics, 1 week is an eternity in politics. 3 weeks is centuries. They really have to come and play on the front foot if they really mean to talk about saving the Samvidhan. We need more action.
Okay, no, Arshpreet, but no, there's one line.
And actions will speak louder than words. Actions will speak louder than words.
Yes.
Mr. Gandhi will say.
Yes.
Okay, action for everybody will speak louder than words, but words also matter. You live in an age of 24/7 communication. We're all wired all the time, so words can't be dismissed. When you choose to stay silent and when you speak and what you say does matter. But of course, actions matter more. We leave it there. Thank you. I am glad that we can still have a fierce but polite set of disagreements and some convergences. Sanjay, Hegde, Arshpreet, Khadial, Shantanu, Gupta, Akash, Banerjee, and Ujjwal Deepak, who I think we just lost the connection to. Thank you to our audience. Have a great weekend, and we will see you tomorrow. Thank you, and take care.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.